A live look at the George Preston Recreation Center here in the township of Langley, British Columbia. It is Sunday night action, draw 6 at the 2020 New Holland Canadian Junior Men's and Women's Curling Championships. I'm Al Cameron from Curling Canada, joined tonight by John Cullen for what looks like a great match in the women's division. Quebec's Noémie Gauthier taking on Manitoba's Mackenzie Zacharias. And lots on the line for both of these teams. And John, I think it's going to be a fascinating game featuring a Manitoba team that in a lot of people's eyes is a favorite at the 2020 Canadian Juniors, but a Quebec team that has some competitive pedigree and is riding a hot streak coming into this national championship.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a really good match tonight. When I looked at the schedule and I knew I was going to be broadcasting this game, I knew it was going to be a good one, and I'm excited. As you said, Manitoba, sort of the prohibitive favorites, if you were, on the women's side, but Quebec, multiple people have told us this week, a sneaky good team, Al. They say. That's the scouting report, so I'm excited for this one. Should be a good one.
We'll run down the lineups for both teams. Quebec from the Kenogami, Etchemin, Lennoxville, and Port Alfred curling clubs, skipped by Noémie Gauthier. The vice skip, Leandra Roberge. The second, Megan Rivette. The lead is Florence Boivin. The alternate, Anna Monroe. And the coach, Michelle Bleh. And the Manitoba champs from the Alberta Curling Club, Mackenzie Zacharias. Carly Burgess at third, Emily Zacharias at second. The lead and vice skip is Lauren Lenentine, and the coach is Sheldon Zacharias. And for those of you who follow junior curling, you're looking at that lineup and saying, wait a minute. And yes, they do have some familiar faces on them. Carly Burgess and Lauren Lenentine both played for Nova Scotia at last year's New Holland Canadian Juniors in Prince Albert. Both have moved to Manitoba. And they have formed this team with the Zacharias sisters, Mackenzie and Emily, and they have gelled together very quickly to form a terrific team.
Yeah, I feel blessed covering this game, Al. Last night, real easy on us broadcasters. We had a lot of Kates, we had a lot of familiar names, a couple Lindsays, and tonight we got 3 Zachariases representing Manitoba. So I feel like it's so nice for us. I just say Zacharias
got
a good chance I'm right. And I like that.
And this Manitoba team has made a little bit of history already. Lauren Lenentine, the lead, who does hold the broom for skip Mackenzie Zacharias. She will talk a little bit more about her background, but she did play third for the Nova Scotia team skipped by Caitlin Jones last year. But Lauren Lenentine, the first player in the history of the Canadian Junior Championships first female player to have played for 3 different provinces at the Canadian Junior Championship. She, of course, skipped Prince Edward Island previously, then played for Nova Scotia and is now playing for Manitoba. And they are chasing history as Carly Burgess, with a win here, to become the first female player ever to win 3 Canadian Junior Women's Championships. So we do have an open end brewing here, John, and we'll say it again. That's typical for junior curling, just a way to get used to the ice, get used to the circumstances, and for these teams, get used to being on television with the mics on.
Absolutely, yeah. We've seen it a couple times already. We saw it last night, and we talked about this last night too. A lot of times with arena ice and with shifting attendance and different things happening in the building, obviously the temperature outside of the building varying all day, you do get a little bit of a variance in draw times from draw to draw. And so, you think you got the arena ice, obviously it's going to be pretty consistent, but every draw, it can be a little bit different. And so you're going to see teams, especially early on, want to kind of test that and see if they can find their draw weight early.
You will see a lot of examples of the way this Manitoba team does the little things. You might have noticed on the draw just now by Quebec, Lauren Lenentine did walk down with that draw just to get a time on it, a precise time. And that's just one of those samples of what this Manitoba team does as part of its commitment to winning this championship.
And I got to give a shout out to Lauren as well, because she is a lead, playing the position of my heart, but getting to hold the broom when Mackenzie Zacharias throws. And I'm all about upward mobility for leads, Al. I think it's very important that we get put more on the map than we are.
Couldn't agree more. Not the first time we've seen that sort of formation, by the way. Those great Colleen Jones teams that won 4 straight Scotties, 2001 through 2004, had the same setup. Nancy Delahunt throwing lead rocks, but serving as the vice skip and holding the broom for Colleen.
Absolutely. I think more teams should do it. And I said pretty much every year I played that I should be the vice skip, and no one ever listened to me.
You said you should be the skip on occasion, too.
No, I never said that. No? I'm terrible.
Okay, gotcha. Carly Burgess now throwing, and again, as we say, one of the most accomplished junior players in Canadian history, really. 2 Canadian Junior Women's Championships, 2 World Junior Championships, both with different skips, Caitlin Jones and Mary Fay, and also won a Youth Olympics gold medal as a teammate with Mary Fay and Sterling Middleton and Tyler Tardy. So
my BC boys.
Lots of connections there with Carly.
And this is, I believe, Carly's first time playing back end. She's been second on a lot of those other teams, and that she's had success on. And so, you know, that's something that you could watch for this week. Obviously, she's got a ton of experience, but it'll be interesting to see how she manages throwing those third rocks. And we are seeing a pretty quick sheet here, Al. We talked about it last night. The draw time to the tee line, the hog-to-hog draw time, was about 15 seconds. And as I talked about last night, that is going to be as close to the fastest ice as these curlers have played on all season. And so that's an adjustment for sure, especially for teams that maybe didn't play as much as some of the other teams. And that'll be something that we'll keep an eye on throughout the game, because it was definitely an adjustment for both of the teams last night, as we saw.
Carly Burgess, I hate correcting my cohort here, but
correcting me?
She did play vice skip in the 2017 Junior Nationals at Victoria when Kristen Clark was skipping, but yeah, she definitely prefers second, and that was one of the, she doesn't mind throwing third rocks, but she feels better about sweeping, and she is one of the best sweepers in this field on the female side as well. All 4 of these players, by the way, were all-stars at the 2019 Canadian Juniors, based on shooting percentages. So all 4 of those Manitoba players, they've definitely have shown that they can shoot.
Let's go. Let's go, je vais accoler parce que...
It's 10? Yeah. It's right there.
I was interested to see if Mackenzie Zacharias would maybe try and go around this and either work a steal or a force, but
like this, just keep
again,
it simple.
It is quite early, and you can see she asked her team, you guys like this, you like keeping it simple, and it was a pretty firm yes, so not uncommon to see this in the first end. Team still kind of feeling the ice out a bit.
Clockwise rotation. Mackenzie Zacharias is in turn.
Hard, yes! Whoa! Get in. Hard him. Okay, good throw, man.
Rolls off the rings a little bit, so Quebec will actually try and play it over to that side just to see if they can generate a little bit of a miss here, but also it gives them a chance to get comfortable with that side of the ice. Gauthier in her final year as a junior. She's 21. Student at the Cégep de Jonquière.
Et à vous. Mains en sur, les filles, mains en sur. Hard. Hard, les filles, mains en sur.
She's played at the last 2 Canadian juniors with Laurie St. George of Quebec. At her trip to the 2018 juniors.
Okay.
We'll see where that ends up. I like that shot.
Yeah, that ended up really nice.
Sure
if it's on the rings here.
That's a cheeky leave, isn't it?
Standy. Yeah, it's forcing Mackenzie to play some pretty good weight at it here.
Don't just play it safe.
And it's not a difficult shot, of course, but, you know, it's one that Mackenzie's got to think about. And that's the thing with Mackenzie deciding not to draw on her first one. Obviously, no problem with the call, but it does allow Noemi to have a chance at getting her draw weight down a little bit. And that's something that skips love to get going early on in a game, get their draw weight, get a feel for it, and a draw to the wings too, which is nice.
Just to make sure.
Just to kind of see how it's coming off center.
Okay, just a little bit more.
This is hardly a routine blank attempt, though.
Quebec has hammer, so she's not trying to blank it, but she's just what she's looking for here is just to roll out.
I got it out of the way in the first end, John.
It's all good. You did it last night too, and then you didn't make another mistake. So nice shot from Mackenzie. Played it safe. Liked the weight. She didn't overthrow it.
Strictly speaking, I was accurate because it was not a routine blank attempt.
True.
So I do have truth on my side, if not intent. This, on the other hand, should be a routine blank attempt.
This is as routine as they get. Just chuck it down the middle and hope for the best.
Keep it clean, though.
Keep it clean. They did it. We are always cleaning. We're always cleaning the throw-throughs.
So there it is, the blank, and Quebec will take the last rock advantage into the second end. You know, this Quebec team, I was mentioning Noemi Gauthier had played in the last two Canadian juniors, but the team she played on in 2018 in her home province of Shawinigan, it was skipped by Laurie St. George. But Noemi's trip to that juniors was affected a few weeks before when she fell and injured her back skating, just going for a fun skate, and fell and damaged some vertebrae in her back. She tried to play the first game of that junior nationals and lasted just 4 ends of the first game and was in so much pain and agony and could not play the rest of that event. Was replaced in the lineup by Isabelle Thibodeau, and that team went on to win the silver medal, losing the gold medal game to Nova Scotia's Caitlin Jones, with Carly Burgess as the second and Lauren Lenentine as the vice skip that year. So talked to her before the game. She says her back feels good, it's healthy, and no lingering ill effects.
Yeah, that's always the balance, right? When you're a competitive curler and you got lots of other things going on in your life, it's tough to want to put things on hold, but you qualify for a national championship and you start to think, oh, geez, am I going to have to wear bubble wrap outside of the house, or what's going on here? Because I don't want anything bad to happen.
And I can confirm she has not skated ever since, so skating is off the agenda.
That's fair. So not a surprise, we see Manitoba throw up the center guard right away. Again, you know, I think most teams that we've seen so far, you know, will keep the first end clean and go after it in the second end, but Manitoba especially not going to be afraid to get into a draw game here, and we'll see what Lauren can do as Quebec's rock slipped just into the back four.
Which you told us last night is not a terrible thing.
It's not a terrible thing. I mean, I think, you know, the sort of logic on this is shifting a bit with the 5 rock rule, in that if you keep everything above the tee line, and then by the time the teams get a chance to peel, you know, there's maybe not freezes, there's ways of getting rid of the rocks so that you can secure a blank end. So, you know, if you're trying to generate a deuce, teams tend to, you know, they don't mind slipping a little deep anymore, because it just encourages action, and you hope sort of by the end of the end you're on top of the angles. But
we're going to have some build up here in the 4-foot, quite obviously.
Does look that way. Quebec trying to slow this one down a little bit. Leandra Roberge giving it the old, we would call it back in the day. It's a technical term. A lot of teams use it. Basically what she's doing there with those little sweeping strokes is she's attempting to kind of create little ridges in the pebble of the ice to sort of slow the rock down. And obviously
Largely
it worked.
theoretical, I believe.
Well, listen, I'm not a scientist, Al. I think when you're a sweeper, most sweepers would say that they would rather pound a rock tip to tail, be on it the whole time, than just stand there and watch it. And so I think that's the thing. You see a rock coming down, you're sort of standing there. You're like, well, am I just going to walk beside this thing, or am I going to do something? And so that's one thing you can do to feel like you're a part of the magic.
But that said, I know there are some fairly high-powered people who do believe in the science of it. I believe Glenn Jackson was a proponent of it, and I saw there has been teams that try it, and not convinced that any of them have made it work. But if you ain't trying, you ain't trying.
Well,
I think, as the saying goes.
That's true. That is true, and that is a saying that a lot of people know and do say all the time. And I would say with Glenn, he hasn't been a sweeper since the age of the now illegal hair broom. So I don't know if we can take Glenn's word on anything, but no.
He will be skipping in the provincial men's championship in Cranbrook.
Wonderful.
Of course, his wife, Elaine Dag-Jackson, Curling Canada's national women's coach, and two great supporters of the sport of curling over the years.
Oh, absolutely. I'm giving Glennie the gears a bit. He's a great guy, great competitor. Played against him a ton in the last decade, and he's a great guy, and I'm happy for him that he's back at provincials.
Meanwhile, we could have 16 rocks in
the
by the end of this game.
This is looking like a dandy. But see, again, this is what I was talking about, right? So Quebec puts their first rock in the back four. If they put it in the top four, all the action comes to the front of the house, and it forces more takeouts earlier on in the end. And this way, when you go back four, it's not exactly what you want. You do still want to be top four so that you're in control of that button area. But when the rocks start to get stacked up like this, it allows for more action, as we say, and certainly a chance that you sort of hope at some point you end up stacking points.
And Zacharias throwing the counterclockwise out turn, trying to pile another rock in there. Good sweeping form here by Lauren Lenentine and Carly Burgess.
So Emily comes up a little short there, and the way that these rocks are lined up, it actually looks like if Megan Rivette hits it in the right place here, those two reds that you see in the forefoot could both be going, but they decided against that. That's what they were talking about. Noemi was asking if they wanted to hit it, and they decided to go with a little less weight, just kind of put another yellow rock on top of there.
Talked about Noemi Gauthier having her health issues prior to the 2018 Junior Nationals. Megan Rivette has had issues as well. She was in a car accident in August of 2017. She broke her right kneecap and her femur, which ended her 2017-18 season before it even started. But went through the rehab process and worked hard, and she's back on the ice at a national championship.
Geez, this is starting to sound like a Shakespearean tragedy here, Al. It's unbelievable. I like that, obviously in preparation for the broadcast, we talked to a lot of the coaches, talked to a lot of the teams, say, hey, what are some of the interesting facts about your team that we could talk about on the broadcast? And I do like that all of Quebec's are just, everybody was hurt all the time. We're glad they're all healthy right now. I guess we should say that, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. That's good, at least. They got to feel positive coming into this championship. Well, hey, no one went skating. No one got hit by a car.
We haven't even mentioned their issues with the boa constrictor here either. But I kid. Carly Burgess now.
Yeah! Yeah!
Looking to get a little action off that Quebec
Whoa!
stone.
Whoa! Whoa! Yes, yes, yes! Hard, hard!
Good, Carly.
Quebec still sitting shot, but those red stones are in a pretty tasty position, John.
Yeah, really nice shot there by Carly. So what happened there, the way that those Manitoba stones were lined up was not very good for them, as I was talking about in the last shot. You can see here as it's coming in, the way that those Manitoba stones were lined up, there was a shot for Noemi to get rid of both of the Manitoba stones in the forefoot. So by getting this little roll over, Carly's able to change that angle, and now that the red Manitoba rocks are in a more secure position.
Hard flow! Hard flow! All the way hard! Hard, you got it! Hard! All the way hard! Hard, go, go, go! Okay.
And that actually worked out pretty good.
Worked out very well. Yeah, it overcurled to what they were calling, but you know, sometimes you don't want to call the perfect shot because it's
No.
pretty difficult to make, and in that situation, that worked out quite well. Carly's going to come down
Like
and
this
talk
right
about it
here?
here.
Red if we guard.
Yeah. Because she still has this, too. It's close. I don't mind this. Yeah. Just, yeah.
So Mackenzie's original thought was the guard, but sometimes the best guard is a rock that actually comes into the house. And so that's what we're seeing here. Carly, they both sort of decided that maybe getting a red rock sort of on top of that yellow rock that's right in the forefoot is almost the best guard, because they're worried that if they play the actual guard in the middle
Line's a little tight.
of the house and hog line, then that would leave Quebec with a draw on the outturn side to lie too. So
Where? Puppy! Hard! Hard! All the way, yes,
She
hard!
pulled a string on this.
looks pretty good. Just might be, it might overcurl a
I can't
smidge
hear
here.
anything.
Good sweep there by Emily
I
Zacharias.
can't hear anything for weight.
And there it is. That's the challenge of playing in a smaller arena with these cowbells and the noisemakers.
Okay, mais j'envoie genre une
Yeah,
Yeah,
demi.
we've got an enthusiastic
Parce que vous jouez
audience
la
here.
finance. J'envoie juste une demi. On peut pas se faire mal. Juste bum. Bumper. Bum. Bum, ouais. J'envoie une demi. Je préfère. Ben, veux-tu aller up? Ben, on peut juste la pousser un peu, je pense. Up, oui. Okay, Ash.
Another angle changing shot here by Quebec. They're just playing hack weight at these rocks in the front and just hoping to kind of shift them around for some more favorable angles.
Whoa, Meg, Meg, Meg! Hard! Hard, Meg! Hard, Meg! Hard! You got it, hard! All the way hard, hard, hard! Go, 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 go!
Oh, just got
Keep
by.
going. Okay.
Oh, every shot produces something interesting here. It's got to look at it a few seconds to see whether it was good or bad, but I think that was mostly good for Quebec.
Yeah, it's a bit of a messy house here. We can say that.
The master of understatement, John Cullen, but
If this was my house, my girlfriend Becca would be
Just even
very
half is
upset
fine.
with me.
Just here?
skip rocks now, Mackenzie Zacharias.
All right. Just halfway.
Skip Manitoba to a 6-4 record last year at Prince Albert.
What kind
at
of
the
weight?
New Holland Canadian Juniors. Also played at the under-18 championships in 2017 in Moncton. Posted a 4-4 record as the Manitoba Skip.
So Mackenzie's just guarding here. Quebec's got not a whole lot on the other side of the rock, or sorry, on the other side of the sheet rather. And in fact, Manitoba's got kind of a little lined up double run there. So I think Mackenzie's probably thinking that if she guards this side of the sheet now, Quebec's not going to have a whole lot of options for two.
Line's good though. Whoa, let it sit on its own.
No. Good, Mac. 16-3.
Came a little deep, which forced the rock to overcurl a little bit more than they were expecting, and it's going to leave Quebec a little tap here.
À quel point on la voit?
Looks
On
like
la voit quand
Noemi
même pas mal. Moi,
Gauthier
je
can
pense
see
pas
about
plus que
half of
backline,
that
backline,
Manitoba
backline.
stone.
Fais juste le geste pour que Michel le voie. OK.
And we'll just
Fais juste le
promote
geste pour
her
que Mike
yellow.
le voie.
into the fourth, or into the button.
Backline, Jean. Pas plus que backline. Mets-moi ça en plus. Encore. Encore un peu, OK. Quoi? Ouais, dans le fond, il faut qu'on pousse la rouge sur la jaune. 4-20, OK. Parfait. Meg! Hard Meg! Les deux! Hard! Let's go! Hard, vous la Meg! Hard, go!
Just a little tight.
Okay.
Wonder if there's a bit of a run there or something. That's the second, well, actually third rock we've seen in that spot curl more than the teams were expecting. Obviously Mackenzie's first, and then now Noemi's. And that's too bad. That was a, if Noemi makes that shot, promotes that yellow in there, it's really difficult for Manitoba to play with it at all. I mean, they do have, again, they've got maybe something on the other side of the sheet, but it's pretty tough. If Noemi made that shot, it's looking like 2 or more. So an unfortunate, costly miss there. If Mackenzie can guard this up, you might see Quebec throw into the boards because they're not going to have a whole lot.
Manitoba coming, both these teams, by the way, at 2-0.
Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Coming into this game, so
Let's go. Hard.
we will still have one unbeaten team at the end of it.
Sorry. Good sweep.
And we'll see if that finished high enough to give Quebec another shot at it. Or will they look at that outturn?
Je sais pas si elle va y aller, mais on peut l'essayer.
They certainly know it curls on the intern side.
Absolutely. I mean, again, with Mackenzie's there, she didn't throw a ton of weight, and it curled a lot. So I think the shot that Noemi just threw is probably there. If you get by the guard, it shouldn't be too difficult. We know it's going to finish, and you don't have to throw a ton of weight here. She threw back line on her last one because it was more open.
Are they looking at the run back?
Ben, de même, elle se fait pas, je te le confirme. On laisse comme ça. Ah, il va, c'est sûr. Il y a en masse de place. OK. Mets-moi un balai, puis à curl en masse, ça va être belle. Où? Ferme un peu. OK, je pense de même. Backline, ouais, encore. Je pense même weight. Même weight, on passe entre les deux, puis elle peut se faire, puis on peut pas se faire mal en faisant ça. OK.
Now, French isn't my first language, but I'm a little confused as to what they're doing here. I heard back line, but maybe they are playing this run back on the center guard. Maybe she thinks that's her best way to get at that red-yellow combination.
Whoa. Meg, reste close. Meg. Whoa. Meg. Whoa. Hard.
Through the port.
Oh, there's a hole there.
Meg. Hard.
Oh, they lost it.
Yellow.
So coming across the face to that red-yellow combination was the call.
Interesting. I mean, that was a really tight port to get through there. I mean, it is curling enough that you probably could get through it, but I don't know. I'm not out there, but I wouldn't have minded the intern. I think the shot they played on their last one was still there. I do think that intern is curling quite a bit, and they didn't have to throw a ton. They could have thrown back 8 even. All they had to do was kiss that red-yellow combination to move it up, but as it stands, Quebec played a pretty nice end. They were looking for 2 the whole time, and it didn't quite come off for them, but a well-played end, and they'll take the 1-0 lead into the third.
This Quebec team, by the way, wasn't put together until fairly recently. They got together at the beginning of the season, but as Noemi Gauthier told me, they didn't think they had a chance to win. They got to provincials, and they thought they were going to have a nice time together there. And I guess one of them made a joke that if they win the provincials, let's get team tattoos. Haha, yeah, that's not going to happen. Except it did happen. They won the provincial championship. And a few days after the win, they went and got tattooed together. And if you look on the Curling Canada website later this week, you'll see we'll run a story about that with pictures of the tattoos. But basically, it's the letters GH shaped to look like a curling stone. GH. And the GH represents go hard or go home. And that is the attitude they brought with them here to the New Holland Canadian Juniors, John.
I think in Quebec it's pronounced GH. But that's cool. I like that. As a stupid man.
I think the stupid was redundant.
Exactly. I've been privy to a lot of tattoo bets, and I will say that a lot of times there's not a lot of follow through. So I have to say I greatly respect these young ladies for setting up a tattoo bet and actually following through on it. That's impressive, and I like it. Go hard or go home. They've gone hard so far. Really, really fun second end from both teams, and it might be the tattoos, Al.
Clearly. They are located on the ankles, by the way, if anybody is wondering.
They were dying to know.
It was either that or the forehead, and they chose ankles.
Yeah, they didn't want to Post Malone it out here. So Quebec tried to draw into the house with their second one there. Came up a little short and a little tight. Tight and light, as we say. Not the best combination, and it's got a nice little wall of guards up here for Manitoba.
This Manitoba team, by the way, came together shortly after last year's 29th at the New Holland Canadian Juniors. First started with Carly Burgess. She knew that that Nova Scotia team that she had played for with a couple of years was probably not going to be staying together. The coach, Andrew Atherton, was moving on to coach his daughter. Caitlin Jones was aging out, so Carly was looking for another challenge, and she made contact with the Zacharias team. Carly was looking around to see where she'd like to pursue her curling career, wanted to challenge herself and pursue education. Manitoba had appeal as a deep curling province, obviously. She knew that the Zacharias sisters were good players, well coached, and oh yeah, her boyfriend happened to live in Winnipeg, and her boyfriend is none other than Jacques Gauthier, who is skipping the Manitoba 2 team here this week. So Carly put 2 and 2 together, and it came up Manitoba, and she is staying at the Gauthier house. Of course, Kathy Gauthier, Jacques' mom, she's here this week cheering on the Manitoba teams. So anyways, Carly and the Zacharias sisters have 3/4 of a team, and they're saying, well, what should we do about a lead? And Carly suggests, well, Lauren Lenentine, she might be looking for a team. They make the call to Lauren, and Lauren investigates the educational opportunities in Manitoba and decides, you know what, I like this. So the team came together over the summer, and Carly and Lauren moved to Manitoba on August 18th. First team practice, August 19th. They were ready to go at it hard.
Respect. It's, I will say, as someone who's followed curling for a long time, Al, the ability of men who live in Winnipeg to get women to relocate there is unbelievable.
You got to tip your cap.
You have no choice. You have no choice. I can't say I know Jacques at all, but he must be a good guy if he can convince a girl to move to Winnipeg.
So does that say about their persuasive charms despite Winnipeg? Because for the record, I think Winnipeg's a fine city.
It's one man's opinion. I'm just kidding. I love Winnipeg. I got lots of friends there. It's a great spot. I was at the Winnipeg Comedy Festival this year. It's always a blast being in Winnipeg. We're having some fun here, Al, as they say. What has to happen in this championship for us to get team tattoos?
Well, you know what? I'll throw the, if there is input out there, television@curling.ca is the email address you can reach us at. Television@curling.ca. We are open to suggestions. Not suggesting that we will take your suggestions, but we are open to them.
Yeah. Tell us what would have to happen for us to get tattoos and what the tattoos should be of.
Oh, they're flooding in, John. They're flooding in, these emails.
We can barely stand it.
Oh, the Curling Canada server has collapsed.
And too bad. They weren't ready for us.
Back to the game. Thank heavens. That rock is going to go a little deep. We'll pretend that the last minute never happened.
This is, again, another busy end, and this is what happens, especially in the 5-rock rule. If you come a little light on that guard, and it changes the whole perspective of the end for Quebec, where they end up chasing, especially after Lauren Lenentine makes that perfect rock to the top 4, and that's what we're seeing here. It's going to be really difficult for Quebec to get that rock off the top 4. This is a big shot from Leandra Roberge here.
By 1 stone, does not get by the second. And bumps into the open.
But I think we still have to move it. Just 10.
If you're Quebec, you're not hitting the panic button yet, but you're looking at that 1 yellow in the back 8, and especially if Carly makes this shot, you're looking at your 1 yellow in the back 8 going, huh, it's getting a bit lonely back there. Thankfully for them, it's behind about 4 other rocks.
Carly Burgess' cousin Lindsay, of course, still playing for Nova Scotia.
Hard! Hard! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Yes, yes! Whoa, whoa! Yeah. Nice shot.
Called and made.
Good, Carly.
Really nice shot. The benefit to the roll there is that you open up, you keep that side of the 4-foot open for Mackenzie to possibly add a second point in there later on in the end. You never want to choke yourself off, and if you leave it open, it potentially leaves a double there for Quebec as well. So for Carly to make that roll, avoids the jam at the back. Obviously it jammed, but it rolled out, so she avoids the straight jam, avoids Quebec having a shot at the double, and leaves that side open for Mackenzie. So a huge roll there, and now we're forced a run back from Quebec.
Yeah, trying to bail out a little bit here.
Meg! Hard, Meg! Laissez-la rouler un peu, Flo. OK.
Didn't really accomplish a whole ton there, but at least they've got yellow stones in front now.
OK.
If nothing else. By the way, if you're wondering, Manitoba will play Nova Scotia tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time, so that will be a very interesting match, and I'm sure some definite mixed emotions for Carly Burgess in particular going into that game. Playing her cousin and playing the province that she represented so many times.
Sometimes you got to move away from home and rebel.
Close.
I like it.
Where? Yeah. Where? Hard. Right up. You still got it. Line's good.
Zacharias and
Hard, guys,
Lenentine
hard.
really leaning into this. They get it by just rubs.
Yeah, right up. Okay. Shoot. 15-7.
So we hear Mackenzie saying 15-7 there. She's referring to the hog-to-hog draw time.
Normal? Ouais. Faut que tu colles le balai, ouais.
As we established earlier, the draw time to the tee line right now is about 15 seconds hog-to-hog. So no surprise that Carly came up a little light there. It was 15-7. So a wide open double here for Noémie Gauthier.
Meg! Hard, Meg! hard. Whoa. Whoa.
Good shot, but that's one that Noemi would have preferred to stick in the top 12 there,
Okay.
because now this leaves a wide open draw for Mackenzie here. And if she can sneak another one by here and sort of Christmas tree, we call it, where you get a rock about half buried behind the guard and it ends up guarding the one in the forefoot, it's going to be hard
Just
for
right
Noemi
around.
to not give up three here.
Exactly. Just full 8. Make sure we're second. What kind of weight?
15-2, 15-3 here.
Okay.
My goodness, John, we have received our first suggestion on the tattoos.
Didn't feel too
And
bad.
this suggestion, well, if Prince Edward Island wins both the men's and women's titles, you should get matching tattoos
Whoa,
of
you know
Megan
what?
Follows
And first.
playing Anne of Green Gables. And that is
Yeah,
a
we gotta do something.
imaginative and fine suggestion.
Oh.
Almost the worst case scenario for Zacharias there. Comes a little bit heavy, chaps off the red, and now it's a double and sit for Gauthier, and she could even get a slight roll under the guard, and Mackenzie would be forced then to draw for a piece of the button for her one. So how quickly this end is turned.
Tu vas de même, là? Okay.
Mackenzie buries that one around this guard, and she's looking at 2, possibly 3, almost guaranteed. She comes a little heavy, a little wide, and now Noemi has a chance to not only get out of this end, but put herself in a good position to steal.
Whoa. Wait. Close. Whoa. No. Flow.
Trying to get a little bit of curl on this. And does it jam? It does go out of the ring, so could have been worse.
Worked out well for Zacharias, all things considered. She's got a draw to the forefoot for
Just
2.
no more probably, hey? Yeah. Just gotta be 8 foot. Yeah.
Looking ahead to that game tomorrow, Nova Scotia does have a 3-0 record.
No, I think you're there.
It's
Would
starting
be
to
Taylor
curl.
Stevens from the Halifax Curling Club with Lindsay Burgess playing vice skip. So it could be a battle of unbeatens here tomorrow afternoon. Is that
Little heavy here.
Yeah. That's in Pool A. Pool B, Saskatchewan. The Teveno ring from Saskatoon. They also have a 3-0 record, leading the way in Pool A. The only unbeaten team in Pool A. So that is only a single point for Manitoba. And I think Quebec feels like they might have gotten off a little bit fortunate there.
Well, certainly. I mean, you expect most skips at this level to make a draw for 2 to the forefoot. And I think kind of maybe what happened there, and Mackenzie seemed a little confused herself. I timed that rock at 14.9. And earlier we had 15 as being T-line, maybe 15.1, 15.2. So 14.9 should have been pretty good. So I almost wonder if the ice is quickening up, and maybe that's something that Zacharias hasn't picked up on yet, because she was heavy on her first one as well. So something to watch here. We'll see what Lauren throws here, but if the ice is indeed quickening up, then that might be something that both skips are going to have to adjust to. And it'll be an adjustment for Noemi as well, because she simply hasn't thrown a draw yet.
Take a quick look at the other games in action Sunday night here at the New Holland Canadian Juniors. The other women's games, we have New Brunswick. That's Melody Forsyth playing Northern Ontario, Kira Brunton. Both of those teams at 0-2. And it is a 4-0 lead for New Brunswick early on in that game. Northern Ontario with one in the first, New Brunswick with a deuce in the second, and a stolen deuce in the third as both those teams go for their first wins. The other women's game here in the arena right in front of us on sheet E is the Northwest Territories. Tiana Bain taking on Kayla Bushy's team from Kimberley, British Columbia, the home team, and it is a 3-0 lead for British Columbia. One in the first, a steal of 2 in the second. As BC looks to improve to 2-2 on the opening weekend, the Northwest Territories winless at 0-2. Men's games tonight here at the arena. It is another BC versus Northwest Territories battle. This time it's BC number 2 taking on the Northwest Territories. As Johnson Tao skipping BC number 2 against Sawyer Kaiser of the Northwest Territories, and it's a 1-0 lead for the BC number 2 team. The Northwest Territories getting a double dose of BC today. They played the BC number 1 team earlier today and losing that game as both these teams are winless. BC number 2 at 0-3, the Territories at 0-2. Also here at the rink, at the arena, it is Newfoundland Labrador. Daniel Bruce carrying a 2-0 record. Both Newfoundland Labrador teams have performed extremely well here this week on opening weekend, and it is Newfoundland Labrador playing Ontario's Owen Purdy, and it is a 2-1 lead for Ontario. Ontario with a winless 0-2 record, so they are in must-win territory. 2-1 for Ontario. Pardon me, we'll give you an update. It is actually, we'll have to get that score corrected online. It's 3-2 for Newfoundland Labrador. Newfoundland Labrador stealing 2 in the second end, Ontario getting 2 back in the third. So it's 3-2 Newfoundland Labrador playing in the fourth end. And over at the curling rink, the Langley Curling Center, you've got Quebec, Greg Cheel playing Prince Edward Island's Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith off to a 2-0 start on opening weekend. And if he wins this championship, that's halfway there to us getting tattoos, John, by the way.
Oh, we're just going with that, eh?
Well,
I purposely didn't say anything about that suggestion.
True. Okay, gotcha.
Because I don't know if I want to get an Anna Green Gables tattoo.
Well, it's a statement.
It is.
PEI and Quebec in a 2-2 deadlock through 3 ends. And also over there, you got the Manitoba number 2 team, Jacques Gauthier, that we mentioned earlier. He's off to a 2-0 start playing Nova Scotia. Owen Purcell, who had a very impressive win earlier today, playing Northern Ontario. And that is a 2-1 lead for Manitoba number 2. Manitoba getting a deuce in the third end after Nova Scotia stole one in the second end. So 2-1 lead, Manitoba number 2.
So I've been timing some rocks in this end, and the Manitoba red rock you see in the top 4 there, thrown by Lauren Lenentine, 15-8. So the ice is most definitely quickening up even from the first end of this game, and so teams obviously going to have to be aware of that, and it makes a lot more sense why Mackenzie Zacharias missed hers at 14-9 last end. So, you know, I talked about this last night as well. This is certainly going to be the quickest ice that these teams have played on all year. I mean, when you're talking 15-8 to 16 to the tee line, that's as fast as ice gets, really. And so this is going to be a big adjustment for all these teams. And it's interesting, you're talking about the curling club scores too. I think sometimes we forget at this championship, it's so big that it not only is being played in this arena that you're watching the games on, but it's also being played in the curling club next door. And the draw weight over there would be, I would assume, a fair amount different than here, likely slower. So it's an adjustment for these teams to be going back and forth from the arena to the club, and obviously the arena ice conditions themselves are changing too. So it's going to be fun to see how these teams manage this extremely quick ice. And so far, this end's looked pretty good. Some nice made shots from both teams.
The ice conditions over at the curling center, though, have been very good, but yeah, I don't disagree. It will be different just because of the nature of the building.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So we're not putting down the curling club. Obviously, we all curl on curling club ice all the time. It just, as a general rule, tends to be a little slower and tends to curl a little less than arena ice. And so that's an adjustment that these teams are going to have to be making as they're moving back and forth between the buildings.
Trying to make this curl as much as they can.
That's a dandy.
Real nice. Great sweeping by Boivin. And we're seeing that sneaky good already, John.
Absolutely. Quebec's made a lot of really nice shots, and especially from their front end. They've had pretty much all of these ends set up really well. And the back ends played well too, but you know, these tournaments are won and lost with your front end, and Quebec's thus far has been up to the challenge of this strong Manitoba team.
Right at it. Let's go.
Little bit.
Whoa, whoa. Yep. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Big.
No.
Wow,
Get out.
good shot.
Come on.
Get it. That works.
Yeah, that works.
It works, yeah. Especially considering Carly Burgess almost blew a tire on that one.
That one touched? Okay.
Megan Rivette was having flashbacks to the car accident. Good shot, but it does leave Quebec with a few options here. They can come around the guard, which they're doing. And they also have that catcher in the top 12 that I'm sure they would like to make count at some point.
Yeah, it looks all innocent out there right now, but you never know. It's those innocent stones that come back to
Hard pour la ligne. Hard line.
haunt you.
Hard line. Hard throw. Oh. Hard.
You have to work hard to get it by the
Hard
guard,
throw. Hard.
and
Let's go. Let's go. Hard.
will it be
Hard.
short? Oh my!
Hard. Go. Hard. No.
Great sweeping by that Quebec front end.
And that rock's not in a bad spot either. Obviously, they would have loved to come in for second shot. But again, if you're Manitoba, a lot riding on this draw from Carly Burgess as the Quebec stones around the outside of the rings continue to mount. And the problem is for Manitoba, that red stone, the lone red stone in the house right now, is wide open. So if Carly were to ever pull the string on this one or go a little bit deep, Manitoba's got a hit and roll to lie for. So big shot here from Carly.
Wait only. Line's good. Line's good. Wait only, guys. Where? Where? Where is it? Switch. Right here. Make it good. Make it good.
It's a little deeper than top 8,
Yeah,
but
that's
wow,
good.
came out nice.
Good. I missed the time on that one.
There's another example. I
missed
don't think
that one.
Mackenzie could literally hear what her teammates were calling to her.
Yeah, she's made that comment a few times.
Je vais peut-être essayer de bouger elle un peu. Hack. Ouais. Hack, oui, ça va être bon. Fait que le hack à 4.
So Quebec here just calling for hack. They're probably just looking to hit and roll in.
Yep. Meg. Hard, Meg. Hard. All the way hard. Hard. Flow, roll it. Hard.
I
Flow
think it's
pa
on
lang.
the guard.
Hula. Hard.
And that's not a great leave either, because it does take away that red stone that they might have been able to use later on for a run-in, but and now Manitoba has the chance to make the
It's for 3.
Quebec stone go away. That's at the back forefoot too.
I don't think, like, those were from
Then we can go over top. I think we have to play it. Or what else do you see?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
think
we can
they-
also come in this way.
Yeah, we just
I know.
like the guard.
Okay.
It's just,
I know.
we need to get a lot of ice.
Like here?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it, Max.
Okay, I think we have to play the guard. You guys see anything better? Or that?
You like more
Yeah,
ice?
that's the only thing. Unless we play the top on the red. Yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
sure, let's play that.
Here?
Yeah, that's close.
So you can see all of that redstone, and that is the rock they're going to try and promote.
15. Whoa. Running. Still running.
Just let it stop. She slid where we had the broom originally
Okay.
too, so
One of those shots, I think,
That
were
didn't do anything like we thought it was going to.
one of those shots where Manitoba, I think, was almost spoiled for options there. They could have just
Yeah.
drawn on top of their red one, maybe lied to, or at least sort of, guarded with a freeze in that top four. They could have tapped back. That was their first call, was to tap that red back.
Si, mettons, là, genre, on run, puis ça stick là.
They end up taking a turn they haven't played and didn't quite work out, but they do guard that red, so takes away the huge end from Quebec.
Ouais, j'aille pas. Faut essayer de bouger, puis bon. Fait que,
sinon on le fera pas.
Puis,
Puis line, je pense qu'on n'a pas le choix si on va aller chercher notre point. Parce qu'elle, elle va s'en plugger un autre.
faut bouger elle, je pense que
Ouais.
oui.
Ouais, de même. Drap. Fait que
Ouais.
quel weight? Là, faut qu'on pointe le weight à Mike. Là. C'est quoi qu'on joue comme weight? Back vite, pas plus.
J'attends pas que tu
Back
bouges.
vite. C'est juste un signe pour dire qu'on joue back vite. Pour que lui le voit.
Back
Ouais.
vite.
Puis, mets-en pas trop large,
Ici?
comme un peu. Ouais, de même. On va essayer, elle va jammer. C'est sûr qu'elle jamme, mais on n'a pas le choix d'essayer de la pousser un peu, je pense. Faudrait qu'on
Quebec will
reste
try
fait que
some
genre pas plus que overdraw.
in
back
turn the clockwise rotation for Noemi Gauthier.
vite. Combien environ?
See if they can get one into
The
that
weight?
forfeit area, even try and move that red one a
Back
little
eight.
bit.
That sounds like the plan. It looked to me like they're planning on playing back 8 and maybe just moving that redstone back. I think freezing here is not a great shot because then Manitoba just puts a guard right on top of it, and then you got to draw the button for one. So you move it a bit, and it might give you some more options with your last.
weight! Whoa!
She's got quite a bit of weight here.
Close leg! Whoa!
Whoa.
Flo, faut qu'elle y aille. No
Okay, no
roll.
roll.
OK. Il aurait fallu qu'elle y aille un peu plus. OK.
Not a bad shot from Quebec, but it does leave Zacharias with a hit and roll here.
Mais je pense qu'on était obligé de jouer là-dessus pour...
Oui, ben, je pense que ça a été ça.
Ah, c'était juste un peu up pour quelqu'un plus.
That proves they could even guard too. Right?
Yeah, the guard's still an option here, no question.
Yeah, I don't mind 10 and a half either. 10 and a half in there.
Hit and roll is the call.
I think the thing is, if you guard it, it's real tough. It's real tough with the way this turn especially is curling to make it so that Quebec doesn't have a shot for one.
Yeah, I think
There's
so, too.
obviously some risk in this shot. You're throwing takeout. If you ever come wide here,
Just a
you
little
perhaps
off,
set
like,
Quebec
little
up
off
for a
nose
score
roll.
of a multiple. But there's no real great spot for the guard, so I don't mind the hit, and especially if you make it, you really put the pressure on Quebec here.
And you make this shot at 2 steals in play as well.
Absolutely.
Whoa, whoa. Yeah! Hard! 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 Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Yeah, that was real good.
Yeah, very good shot from Mackenzie Zacharias, and she'll feel good about that after last
Really good
end.
save, guys.
She's made 2 great shots here.
Manitoba sitting 2 and no real comfortable options available for Quebec.
C'est ça, le danger, c'est
Well, it's like I said earlier, Noémie Gauthier has not thrown a draw yet. She's thrown some lighter weight takeout shots, but she hasn't thrown a draw, or maybe not since the first end. I guess she did throw a couple draws in the first end when the house was completely empty, but as we've seen, the draw weight has completely changed. So I'm not surprised seeing them looking at the hit here. It's not the best option.
Je pense pas qu'on resterait si on fait ça. Il faudrait y aller un boom pour la pogner là puis y aller, puis je pense pas qu'ils vont tout sortir. Ils sortiront pas toutes.
C'est toi qui sais.
On y va quoi?
And if they play the hit, I don't see how they score
Ça
anyways.
dépend, tu fais-tu ton drap? Je pense que si tu le
Looks
files...
like it jams
Ben,
all day,
je viens
does it
quasiment de le
not?
faire, faut juste que je tire un peu
I
moins
think you
fort.
got enough
On va y
room
aller
there
pour le
that you
draw.
can cross it and make the double and leave that one yellow in the back 8 as the counter, but it's a really tough shot, and you're bringing a potential steal of 3 into play.
Ouais.
Or the draw.
Ouais, mais est-ce qu'il faut absolument qu'on stick?
There's
OK,
the
un
discussion
bumper,
about the
je pense qu'il
draw.
faut essayer de l'envoyer par là, ouais. Juste bum.
Ouais.
Bumper.
Tu veux la pogner de même?
Ben, il faut essayer de même, mais il faut qu'on stick, puis il faut qu'elle essaye
Ouais.
de sticker, OK?
C'est bon.
Fait que genre, mettons, mets-moi le là.
C'est bon.
Bum.
Let's go, no.
Ouais.
Juste bum. OK?
Ouais.
Let's go, tu l'as.
Well, bumper weight.
Sounds like she's throwing bumper, which is interesting to me. Although the thing with bumper is you're taking the potential steal of 3 out of play because your shooter's always going to stick
Là, c'est
around,
trop, mais...
or at least it's very likely that it'll stick around. But this is a very, very tough shot for 1. But again, I think she just doesn't have confidence in her draw weight right now because she hasn't thrown any.
Meg! Hard! Hard, Meg! Hard, les deux!
Wow, non, on peut pas.
I think it's on the
Hard,
Là.
let's
their
go,
own
let's go,
rock
let's
in the
go.
top 12. And look out. Will it spin in? No, it won't. So it is a steal of 2 for Manitoba. Great last shot by Mackenzie Zacharias, the little hit and roll that put all sorts of pressure on Quebec, and it is a 3-1 lead now for Manitoba through 4 ends.
On avait un bout un peu dangereux aussi. Ça faisait plein de pierres qu'on courait un peu.
Ouais,
Fait on en manque sur des petites affaires.
And that's just what happens sometimes, Al. I think, probably a lot of the viewers watching at home, you think to yourself, well, I mean, you just draw there. You got the whole forefoot, you got the whole button open, you just draw to the button and get your 1. And I think, again, it's the ice has definitely been changing. Noémie saw Mackenzie slide through the house the last end. I'm sure there's been lots of communication between the front end and the back end that the ice is as quick as they've ever seen it. And Noémie hasn't thrown a draw in 3 ends. And so, you want to try and minimize the damage. I think she probably felt like, well, I'll get at least 1 of these out, and we'll be able to save ourselves from giving up a steal of 2. And so that's sometimes why you throw the hit there. But unfortunately for Noémie, got a little bit tight on it. And we've seen that in-turn coming this way back towards the home end has been curling extreme compared to some of the other turns on this ice. So tough one for Quebec, but they've gotten their ends set up nicely, so they'll just look to try and get this 2 back and head into the 5th end break with a tie.
And this is a lot about adjusting the mindset too, isn't it? They gave up 2, but if they had given up 2 without Hammer, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I suppose, you just got to convince yourself that, listen, we're still just 2 down, and we've been playing well enough to generate chances, and it's just a matter of finishing off on those chances.
Absolutely. I was constantly convincing myself of stuff like that when I played. Oh, yeah. It's no problem. It's just like they had Hammer and got 2. But then at some point, they have too many points. But you're right. That's exactly the mindset that Quebec will have. Great shot from their lead, Florence Boivin, to get the end started. And you're going to feel pretty happy if you're Quebec that you've got this end kind of set up nice already. A lot of play to the middle and a guard up, and just try and get that 2 back. That's your mindset this end, and you're probably feeling pretty good after the first 3 rocks here, and especially if Boivin can make another good one here.
some really good things happening in Quebec women's curling, particularly among the young teams right now. It's notable that the last 2 teams that represented Quebec at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts were junior age teams. 2018 at Penticton, it was the team Emilia Gauthier from Alma, and I believe, if I recall correctly, they lost the provincial junior final that year to Laurie St. George, who then went on to win the silver at the New Holland Canadian Juniors. And last year is Gabrielle Lavoie, who represented Quebec at Sydney, Nova Scotia. And they had as their second Anna Monroe, who happens to be with this Quebec team here as their alternate. So definitely some good things happening in Quebec. And Curling Quebec can take a bow. My good friend Marc-Andre Robitaille, the executive director of Curling Quebec, they've got a great program going there, and it's producing some young talent.
Absolutely. Quebec's always, you know, as long as I've been playing, been really good at the junior level, and the challenge for them has seemed to be, you know, keeping players past the junior level. Obviously, Martin Clett had quite a run at the Canadian Juniors, won Quebec a bunch of years, and he's been playing with Jean-Michel Menard. But, you know, other than him, they've had trouble keeping the junior players active and playing. So hopefully, with all the success that they've had recently, we'll see a lot of them stick with it. Emily Zacharias made a great double on her last shot. We didn't talk about it, but made a fantastic double to get this end back in Manitoba's favor, and Quebec was sort of trying to bail out on their last shot.
Another nice throw from Emily Zacharias, and suddenly the pressure is on Quebec here again. So they're facing a couple.
Yeah, the positive for Quebec is that Emily's just a hair behind the tee line. So if Megan Rivette can, well, it looks like they're hitting. Never mind.
Clockwise rotation, the out turn for the left-hander. Just gets by that red one, and I suspect the guard will be replaced. The problem now for Quebec is it's going to be replaced with one of their Manitoba stones, so less likely you can run it in and produce a positive result.
Yeah, I was a little surprised not to see Noémie try and draw a rock in the house there. She's got it accessed from both turns. She might have to now, but it's going to be a Manitoba rock in front of the house. Seemed like after Emily made that double, Noémie just made the decision that she was going to bail out no matter what. And just followed that with Megan's rock.
It's got to stop. Let it sit.
But she's got that Manitoba stone behind the tee line, so there are options for Quebec if they want to get a little busy and get some draws happening here.
16-7.
All 4 of these Manitoba players, by the way, are past recipients of the For the Love of Curling Scholarship that is presented by the Curling Canada Foundation. Carly Burgess was a recipient in 2016, Mackenzie Zacharias 2017, and both Lauren Lenentine and Emily Zacharias were recipients in 2019.
All the way hard.
Playing the run back again,
Okay.
and that over curls.
Yeah, again, I have to say, Al, I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe Quebec just feels like they want to get into the 5th end break with the smallest amount of damage possible. But where Carly's guard ended up there, it looked like to me an out-turn draw, a counterclockwise draw, as you would say, Al, coming into the button. You know, seemed like the shot to me. But it seems like Noémie kind of just wants to have an easier shot on her last one and kind of get out of this end maybe with a blank or with some minimal damage just to regroup at the 5th end break.
Straight. That's good. Wall. Good. 17-9.
Our coaching people, John, find me every time I use in-turn and out-turn. So.
Oh, okay. Is that the new thing? You don't say in turn and out turn anymore?
Well, you heard the pregame, they say a clockwise rotation or a counterclockwise rotation because it doesn't differentiate between
Encore.
left-handers and right-handers.
OK,
So that's
non.
the wisdom behind it.
Ben, tu peux y aller hack, mais il va falloir
How about
qu'elle
this
pioche, faut
idea,
qu'on
Al? We
stick.
just don't let left-handers
Ça
curl.
va-tu vraiment servir à quelque chose?
Wait a minute.
Pas.
Could be onto something.
Let's not be too hasty with that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong. We got some great left-handed curlers, but if they knew when they were 5 years old that they had to throw with their right hand.
It's just like field hockey, no left-handed sticks allowed.
Exactly. Be easier for
On a
curling
bloc.
shoe companies. Skips everywhere would thank me.
Meg. Hard Meg. Whoa. Meg. Whoa.
Will it get by that guard? It does.
Harder.
That's pretty nice.
Very nice shot.
It does open some doors for Quebec.
Comes over pretty nice.
Absolutely. Now both of those Manitoba Stones are behind the tee line. Might have just been a little bit late for Quebec to get into the house here because, again, if Mackenzie Zacharias can make a nice draw here and get in the top four,
Kinda
Quebec is in big trouble to score here.
Okay. So a little bit more than the one that came up short over here, right? The guard. Okay.
Line's good. Top four. Room right now.
It didn't feel too bad.
This is the same turn Zacharias was heavy on 2 ends ago.
Easy if you can. Just fight the
Line's
board.
good.
No line yet.
This should be a little heavy here
Hands
again.
in.
I clocked it at
Yeah,
15.
go him. Yeah, go him.
Yeah.
Go him.
Okay, good, Mac. 15-2.
Good shot. But again, Quebec can get in here with a draw and lie shot
What was
rock.
that? Okay.
Tu veux qu'on la... Même si on la pousse un peu, parce qu'il faut qu'on
back
rentre
huit.
là, plus qu'elle. Fait qu'il faut quasiment être drôle. Là.
OK, back four.
Ouais. Pas plus que back four.
OK. Tu l'as.
Faut que j'aille juste drap. Faut juste que je m'échue, je sois drap.
OK. Ouais.
This is the problem you run into when you try and bail out on
On
ends
va
when you
juste,
have hammer.
C'est venir s'accoter sur eux. Là.
Is that if you don't bail out and you don't make those run backs, puts a lot of pressure on your skip stones. Noemi Gauthier is going to have to make a really good one here. Otherwise, she's once again going to be in some trouble with her last.
Bonne ligne. Meg, close. Wow.
La ligne est belle, la ligne est belle.
Ligne est belle. Arrête, Flo.
Faut qu'elle curle.
Flo, close.
Needs to curl a little, I think.
It's a little hot.
That too.
OK.
So we'll leave Manitoba sitting shot rock biting the button.
Mais un peu trop de...
I don't think that yellow rock is going to stay too much longer.
Un peu trop de balle.
Kind of gives Mackenzie
Nothing
Zacharias
right
a
now, I
chance
don't
to
think, right?
play the same shot she played in the fourth
Same
end.
ice, or do you like a little
Yeah,
less?
it makes Mackenzie's shot actually easier.
Okay.
We can't see from we don't have the overhead angle here, but I'm guessing that Quebec is second shot. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so Quebec is second shot
Just a little
here,
less
but
weight.
it allows Mackenzie to kind of be pretty free with her
Just
draw
draw her
here.
in the
Because
pocket there.
if you get any action off that yellow, you're going to be sitting 2 or 3, and Noemi is going to be forced into either
like
a
a foot
big
less weight.
hit or a draw on the out turn to the
Okay.
pin. A turn
it's
that
a
she
little
hasn't
less.
thrown yet. So
That's a bad combination.
it is. It is.
Just no
Especially
more.
after having just given up a steal or 2.
Room right now. No line.
No. No.
No line.
And
Saying it's back
first.
4 again.
No line yet.
Nothing. And now.
Line's good
It should be close, 15-5.
Start him! Really nice smack. 15-6.
So it actually would have been better for Mackenzie to throw the weight that she's been throwing on that turn. She came up a little shorter than what she was hoping. Ideally in that spot you throw like back 8 and get your sweepers to carve it in there and lie 2, but in any case Noemi's got to draw to the pin here to get her 1, and after the way this end has gone, I think she'd probably feel if she can get this one for 1 and get it to a 1-point game heading into the 5th end break, I think that would be a little bit of positive momentum for her.
Meg un peu. Meg pour la ligne. Meg!
Calling the sweep for the line.
Alright, Meg, on est où?
Looks pretty tight.
OK.
On recule.
Est-ce qu'on est vraiment fort? Non?
Ouais.
OK.
Tight and light. So the struggles continue for Noemi Gauthier, and it is a steal of 1 for Manitoba, which gives them a 4-1 lead going into the 5th end break. And we will return to the George Preston Recreation Center in just a few moments.
The game with the ice, and the rocks, and the sweeping, and the yelling. Each game starts with a handshake. Then, 2 teams of 4 people take turns throwing 44-pound stones down a sheet of ice. Each team throws 8 rocks, and the team closest to the center after all the rocks are thrown will score the points. This process is repeated for 6 to 10 rounds until one team is victorious. It's just that simple. Or is it?
Before there was ice, there was our hallway at home. I was always the shy, quiet kid who loved math. But when I saw math come alive in the geometry of the game, I found my passion and my voice. It's a game of precision, a game of inches. It's the equation that now defines who I am.
One might say I was born to overcome challenges. 2 months premature, in and out of the hospital, and a heart condition. My parents call me their miracle baby. As with all survivors, I searched for my place in this world, and I found it here. This pebbled ice is where I battle now, and at only 12, I am already a 5-year veteran of this sport. I have my sights set on the Olympics. I will push hard to get there. The only size that matters in this sport is the size of your dreams.
That has to be the most Canadian thing I've ever seen.
Well, maybe if he was also eating a poutine.
Whoa. and drinking maple syrup.
And he's also
A curler!
Guys, you know I've never actually been curling before.
And you call yourself a Canadian?
I'm sorry.
There's more than 1,000 curling facilities in Canada. Be a good Canadian and find one near you today.
This ice is everything. It's where I come to feel close to her, to feel whole. This building helped raise me when my mother no longer could. When I step on the ice, she steps with me. My dad is my rock. We're a team now, like the four of us when we step on the ice. People say that this isn't a contact sport, but that's not true. It contacts you where you need it the most.
Welcome back to the George Preston Recreation Center in the township of Langley, British Columbia. About 30 to 35 minutes, I think, from Stanley Park. My name is Al Cameron from Curling Canada, joined tonight by John Cullen for women's draw 6 play. Sunday night at the George Preston Recreation Center, and after 5 ends, it is Manitoba's Mackenzie Zacharias in a 4-1 lead over Quebec's Noemi Gauthier. Manitoba with a steal of 2 in the 4th end and 1 more in the 5th. And it will be Quebec having the hammer. And John, I'll ask you to put yourself in the shoes of the coaches and ask you what they would have been telling their teams in that 5th end break. Let's start with Quebec coach Michel Bleh. What would he have told his team?
Well, first I'd like to start by asking the driver of the car how they managed to get from Stanley Park to Langley in 30 minutes. Is the car going Mach 5 or what was happening?
Perfect traffic conditions, meaning no traffic.
Well, and you'd be breaking several laws to get here in that amount of time from Stanley Park. But
35 minutes.
Still generous.
All right.
Michel Blais, I think probably what he is saying, Michel Blais, sorry. I think what he was probably saying to his team is just maybe play with, play with a little less fear. Don't be afraid to go at this team. It looked to me, we talked about Noemi, this being her first year as the skip, and the last end, it really looked to me like, she just kind of, you give up a steal of 2, and after you miss both of your shots, that sucks. It's not a great position to be in. You don't feel good. And so it looked to me in the 5th end like she was just trying to keep it clean and make it as easy on herself as possible. And I totally know that feeling. I've been there, and I get that feeling. But I think there were opportunities there that Manitoba gave them that they didn't really take advantage of. And then it ended up making it tougher for her in the end. So I bet Michelle's saying, hey, listen, we have a game plan. We got here. We got tattoos. We're a team, and we don't have to be afraid to go after this. And so I think now, too, you're down 4-1. Not to say that the pressure's off a little bit, but you can play a little bit more free. You can mix things up a little bit here. And so I bet that's probably what he's saying to them. Just, stay the course, keep it going, and don't be afraid to mix it up a little bit.
By the way, Michel Blais did not get a tattoo, if anybody's wondering. He left that to the girls.
Seems like a bit of a cop-out.
I accused him of that. Before we go on to the Manitoba team, I will say Google Maps suggests it was 48 minutes from here on a Sunday night, so I am chastened. And I will blame Tyler Tardy, who agreed with my suggestion earlier today, so
Tyler Tardy's too agreeable. That's
Yeah,
your problem.
that's
He's
probably it.
probably saying he's just too nice of a guy. Just agrees with everything you say.
So Manitoba coach Sheldon Zacharias, what would he have been telling his team during that fifth end break?
Well, Sheldon, I think, is probably saying almost the same thing. You know, it's kind of a cliche, stay on course, but I think, you know, Mackenzie, you know, started the game with a few misses and then really settled in towards the second half of that first half of the game. How's that for some analysis? And, yeah, I think they're all playing really well, and I think he would just say, you know, let's just keep it going. And I think, too, you know, you talked about Manitoba doing the little things, and obviously every team out here is going to be paying attention to draw weight, but we've heard Manitoba talk about it a lot. We've heard a lot of times being bandied back and forth between Mackenzie, Lauren, and the rest of the team. And so I bet part of their fifth end break conversation was just to stay on top of the draw weight. As we know, sometimes after the big brush comes out in the fifth end break and they scrub the ice down, the ice gets even faster. And we've already talked about this being potentially the fastest ice of the weekend thus far. So I would bet they're probably talking about that, trying to stay communicative about the draw weight and just say, hey, listen, you know, we know what we're doing. We know our game plan. We know how to play when we're up. This is a Manitoba team that's comfortable playing from the front. And so I imagine that that's likely what they were talking about.
So
and
Quebec
this is a nice shot here. Sorry to interrupt, Megan Rivette.
I think we're about to say the same thing.
Yeah, really nice to get around that corner guard there.
So the guard is available to be peeled, the five rock rule in effect, but we are well past that, so this can be peeled, and I think that's a smart call for Manitoba.
Got to be honest, I'm still a little mad you actually went to Google Maps. Didn't trust me. I've been living in Vancouver for 21 years, Al.
How often have you made the drive from the George Preston Recreation Center to Stanley Park, specifically?
Not specifically,
okay,
but
then.
I live in Vancouver. I drove out to George Preston Rec Center last night and tonight, and it took me 40 minutes from my house.
I defer to you.
Thank you. From now on, for the rest of the week, I'm expecting you to defer to me for all Vancouver landmarks, traffic situations, everything.
Consider it done.
Thank you, sir. So now Quebec, after that great draw by Megan Rivette, now in sort of the driver's seat here.
Faut qu'elle curle un peu. On peut t'attendre. On a l'air fort un peu. Faut qu'on attende, non, Flo? Attends un peu. Attends. Biter. Yep. Hard, Flo, hard.
Looking for the biter.
Let's go, Flo, hard. Apporte la,
If they can. It will protect their second shot stone. But it is Manitoba sitting first and third right now, and Mackenzie Zacharias lining up the run back double for Carly Burgess.
Well, Carly playing second for so long, not afraid to throw these types of shots. These are the kind of shots she's been throwing her whole life, basically. So Mackenzie's going to feel comfortable calling it. Carly's going to feel comfortable throwing it. And there it is. Nice shot.
Nice result.
Yeah, that works.
One thing positive for Quebec is that it moved that stone off of the 4-foot, and it's just about half in the 8-foot in the back of the house there. And so this means that if Leandra Roberge can come around this one with the outturn, the counterclockwise rotation, then she will be the shot rock. So that's the one nice part for Quebec. They had the rocks in a nice place. Carly makes a nice shot, but it allows Quebec to potentially get shot rock around this corner guard.
Gotta make it though. That looks a little light.
It does.
Okay, on va rester garde. Whoa.
I think that's probably just been the story of the night for Quebec when they've had chances that draw weight has just eluded them.
Absolutely right.
Okay.
Well, and it's tough. You know, we talked before this game. about Manitoba being the prohibitive favorites in this field, a team with a ton of experience, great resumes for all 4 of the young women on this Manitoba team. And they've put a lot of pressure on Quebec. They've come as advertised. Mackenzie's going to take a page out of the Quebec book here and just try and draw around this corner, beat them 2 it. The one thing you don't want to be here is deep.
Okay, so a little bit less than my last one, right? Okay. Just top 12. I think you're there.
Mine's good. Top 4.
Burgess and Zacharias not playing a brush to this. And as you said, John, the danger is this being deep. But they are going to take it as deep as possible. They knew it was behind the tee line. Now they're going to take it as deep as possible.
Yeah, good call by Lauren Lenentine, the vice skip there. You never want to be deep there, but if you're going to be deep, you want to be as deep as you can be. If you ever leave that kind of just in the back 4 region, it would allow Noemi to come down, sit right on it behind the guard, and sets up a pretty easy 2. So I was a little bit surprised. Mackenzie was saying in the hack that the talk between the Manitoba girls was that the ice had actually slowed down from her earlier throws. And usually we just don't see that, especially in the 6th end after the scrub. And Mackenzie did, to her word, throw it a little heavier than she had her last couple of draws. And no surprise, the ice has not slowed down.
Quebec playing the hit here.
A little surprised at this.
As am I.
Meg! On Meg! Okay, whoa. Roll it up.
Trying to see if they can roll behind the corners.
Made it real nice.
They did.
Great shot. It's not going to be easy for Manitoba to remove, and it does look like Quebec is shot, but it's close. Have to see that overhead.
Okay. Here? Yeah, that looks good.
Well, that's really close. Looks like
All right,
Quebec to
straight
me
down
from
to
the
it.
overhead camera angle.
This is a little bit less.
I would imagine
I would agree.
Mackenzie's
It's
showing
really close for
about
one.
the same weight. This one you can throw a little bit lighter. You just
Yeah,
want to
just
be
a little bit
shot
less.
here.
Yeah.
You want to be shot and you want to be behind the guard. They don't necessarily have to come right down to that yellow, but anywhere behind that guard, shot rock is what Manitoba's looking for here.
Thought it was less.
Room right now.
Carly first, switch.
Tarzan. Just do it. How's it curl?
It's really got to move.
15 and a half. Hey, it's always cards.
going
Make sure
now.
it's here. Make sure it's here.
Hard car. Hard Carly hard. Hard Carly hard.
It's the right weight, but it's not buried. So Noemi should be able to get inside of this. And then it looks like these are close enough that we'll probably see a measurement. But again, looking at the overhead camera angle, it's not always perfect. But it does look like Quebec is shot rock to this broadcaster.
And it doesn't really change the call either, does it?
It doesn't, exactly. Yeah, you're throwing the hit no matter what. And then you're just hoping your one at the back is the one that's counting.
Faut la pogner un peu de ton côté, Meg. Un peu, Meg. Whoa. Close. Non, faut qu'elle cure. Un flow, faut qu'elle cure.
Great shot by Noemi Gauthier.
And let's bring out the measure.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Nice read.
Does look that way.
Je sais pas si pour un.
And have you seen our new measuring?
I haven't.
This is the latest tech. measurement bar, micrometer. This is a laser measure.
Wow. They test these things or what?
They have been tested.
Okay,
I can
good.
tell you they were field tested and they passed with flying colors.
I'm going to say it's a little less dramatic than the whole spinning the old bar around the rings. Got to be honest.
Do we want entertainment or do we want accuracy?
Entertainment, baby. That's
Okay,
what it's all
there
about.
it is.
That was the name. That was the name of my curling career, baby. Entertainment, no accuracy. Uh-oh.
Might have been a battery situation there.
See, that's what I'm saying. The bar never ran out of batteries, am I right?
Yeah. So a fresh measuring device being brought out, presumably with fresh batteries.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity to get a battery sponsorship, Al, for Curling Canada. Next year, this is going to be the Energizer Canadian Junior Championships.
Never say never. Or best case scenario, New Holland Canadian Juniors presented by Energizer.
Well, and now we're talking.
All right, we've got the laser in effect here.
Tu diras, il faut plus qu'elle arrête proche de Glenn. Quand ça son tour à jouer, il faut vraiment qu'elle descende, OK? Flo, tu vas y dire le message, c'est toi qui m'as dit. Moi, je descends, mais elle aussi, faut pas qu'elle attende en haut de sa classe qu'elle s'en excite. C'est deux.
So it is Quebec.
I knew it. We didn't even have to bring it out, Al. Why didn't they just consult me? That's why I'm here. I looked at the overhead camera. I said Quebec, and I was right.
Again and again. We should not doubt this man to my
Well,
right.
This is what I'm saying.
But as an added bonus, these measuring devices can also perform eye surgery. So
Oh, can they?
Yes.
That might be helpful for both of us. A couple of 4 eyes up here, 8 eyes in the booth tonight. That's a big 2 for Quebec. You know, like we said, you asked me what I thought Michel Bleh would have said at the 5th end break, and like I said, I think he probably would have told them to go after it, and they did there. They weren't, you know, they put guards up. They weren't afraid to use them, and Noémie Gauthier made 2 great hits, and now Quebec's right back in the game.
Well, you're right, and it wasn't the call we expected on her first with the hit and roll, but it sure worked out.
When it works, Al. That's what they always say, I think.
Well, I've always been of the belief, too, that sometimes strategy, the whole concept can be overrated. It still comes down to execution, and if you're making 90 to 95% of your shots, regardless of the call, you're going to win most of your games.
That's absolutely right. Here's another gem of wisdom for you, Al. The best shot is a made shot. That's what they always say as well.
That, and the only stat that counts is the scoreboard.
Unless we lose,
Then
and
it's a
I shot 97%, and then the best stat is that I shot 97%.
It wasn't my fault.
That's absolutely right.
Shot 90.
I'm the lead. Nothing's ever my fault.
So 7th end underway. Quebec with the or Manitoba with the hammer, pardon me, and last rock. We'll take a look at some of the other scores in progress tonight here on Sunday night at the New Holland Canadian Juniors. The other women's games in play here tonight. Only one other women's game in action here at the arena. It is a 4-4 tie between Tiana Bain of the Northwest Territories and BC's Kayla Bushy. BC does have the hammer playing in the 7th end. BC coming in with a 1-2 record, Northwest Territories at 0-2. All the women's games, by the way, being played over here. There is one other women's game over here at the arena, and it is New Brunswick. Melody Forsyth looking for their first win at 0-2, taking on Northern Ontario. Kira Brunton also in search of their first win, and it is New Brunswick with a big lead, 8-4 and hammer in the 7th end. They were up 8-1 at one point, a steal of 2 in the 3rd end, a steal of 4 in the 4th end. Now Northern Ontario coming back with 2 in the 5th and a steal of 1 in the 6th, but it is New Brunswick with a 4-point lead and the hammer. Men's games tonight here at the arena. Another battle between Northwest Territories and BC. This time the Territories taking on BC number 2 after losing to BC number 1 earlier in the day. And it is the Territories in a 2-2 tie. The Territories does have hammer, but it is 2-2. Playing in the 7th end. The Territories having stolen a point in the 5th end. BC number 2 coming back with 1 in the 6th. Johnson Tao skipping that BC number 2 ring. And Sawyer Kaiser, his team from Fort Smith and the Northwest Territories. On sheet B, it is Ontario and Owen Purdy taking on Newfoundland Labrador and Daniel Bruce. And Newfoundland Labrador puts a big 4 on the board in the 6th end. That breaks a 4-4 tie after 5, so it is 8-4 Newfoundland Labrador. They're looking for their 3rd straight win to open the Junior Nationals. Ontario at 0-2. Over at the Langley Curling Center, pardon me, it is Prince Edward Island's Tyler Smith off to a great start. He is 2-0 coming into tonight's game, and he has a 6-2 lead through 6 ends over Quebec's Greg Cheel, who is at 0-2. Big steal of 3 for Prince Edward Island in the 5th end. And in the other game, close battle. Well, it was a close battle, not so much anymore. Nova Scotia's Owen Purcell, who lost his opener and came back earlier this morning to even his record at 1-1 with a win over Northern Ontario. He is up 9-2 on Manitoba's Jacques Gauthier now. The Manitoba number 2 team, skipped by Jacques Gauthier, entered that game with a 2-0 record, but it is Nova Scotia running away now. They took a 3-2 lead after 4 ends, stole 1 in the 5th, and then, John, they stole 5 in the 6th end for a 9-2 lead. So a big day for Nova Scotia and Owen Purcell. And it's the Graham Weagle team, of course. Graham Weagle skipping that team. Owen Purcell throwing last rock.
BC just made a shot. You might be able to tell that from the reaction in the building. And yeah, you know, I was talking to the Nova Scotia boys before the game, and I said, you know, if you have a chance to steal 4, why not steal 5? So it's nice to see them taking my advice.
If we've learned nothing else tonight, you can't go wrong taking the advice of John Cohen.
Well, I didn't say it, but one thing we can say is Quebec in a bit of trouble here. Megan Rivette put both of her draws through the house, and Emily Zacharias made no mistake on both of hers. And with the hammer now, Manitoba, a cluster of rocks in the forefoot, and Leandra Robert is going to have to make some shots to give her skip a chance.
Hard, Meg, hard. No roll. Okay.
Manitoba lying 3, and 2 of those ones are blocking that button.
And oh yeah, they have the hammer.
Yeah.
That's a good-looking situation here for Manitoba. On 3rd rocks, Carly Burgess.
Toppy! Line's closed, Toppy! Line only! Line's good, close, low. Yeah, line's good, yeah. Line's good, yeah. Hard.
Great scrub by Lauren Lenentine and Emily Zacharias.
Keep going. Good. That's sweet.
Great shot from Carly Burgess. I'm a little bit surprised to see Noemi Gauthier not bailing here. You've got that yellow rock in front of the house. You've got 3 Manitoba rocks just absolutely guarding up that forefoot. I mean, the best case scenario here, you're still probably rolling out in the open. So I'm a little surprised at Quebec not trying to run that middle yellow in and clear out the situation in front.
Whoa, no roll. Excuse.
That helps. Get that front rock off.
Okay.
Now we'll leave Noemi with a little hit and roll into the middle.
I think so.
Bit of a dry spell for Manitoba at these championships. They haven't won a women's title since 2009. Of course, that was a back-to-back win, 2009, 2008 by... Oh, you're looking at it.
I'm looking at it. Caitlin Laws.
Scooch it over, but then you're just gonna
I
be
would have
more-
got it right, obviously.
Of course you would have. Quebec,
I know,
meanwhile,
she's
has
playing
only
this.
won this gold medal once at the women's juniors. And
Oh,
Or that.
I'm not looking.
Just
that
right
one,
here.
I suspect, should be
We
an
don't
easy
really-
one.
like,
Marie-France
we can say this
LaRouche?
from a
Nailed
different
it.
shot, too. Like, this is
1999.
really good.
And went on to win a bronze medal at the World Juniors in 1999 at Östersund.
If we freeze here, if she moves anywhere here, we got the run.
That's in Sweden.
Okay. I mean, I knew that.
30 to 35 minute drive from the George Crescent.
It's a 30 to 35 minute drive from Stockholm.
Yeah, because we have the backing. If we tap our red a little, it's okay.
So Manitoba looks like they are possibly just drawing another rock in the forefoot here. And I do like that call. The original call from Mackenzie was to hit that yellow. The problem with doing that,
Line's good.
the problem with hitting that yellow completely out of the house is that you leave Noemi a hit and roll into the button, possibly for shot on the rock on the left-hand side of the house as you're looking at it. So I like the call here. It was a team decision,
Yep.
and it's turned out really nicely for them.
Okay.
Carly Burgess threw a little more weight than she was hoping, but
13-9.
it's going to leave Manitoba in a pretty good situation. Most likely, Noemi does have a draw here to try and tap back this red that's shot stone, but very difficult shot.
Juste pour dire, pas plus que back 4, là.
If she does make it, though, it'll be
Le weight.
put Quebec in decent shape to get the fourth here. But she's got to make it and
J'aime
draw
mieux le
weight.
petit line que d'être
It's
trop
not
fort,
being
ok?
very
Fait que je vais aller
kind to her
4-15.
tonight, John.
That's right. She just got in a situation where she had to hit a lot. And it can be hard to switch focus. Out of her hand, looks like a lot of weight to me.
Un peu large, close. Meg, veux-tu y aller? Meg!
That's a 14-7. That should be quite heavy.
They need it to curl a bit to see if they can get an inside flop, but that won't happen.
OK.
Yeah, you can see that was back 12.
Un peu, combien? C'était combien, c'est que là?
Get this.
Yeah, just over here.
Yeah. I think so.
Similar
Just 10
shot
or
to
10
the one
and a half?
Mackenzie Zacharias made back in the fourth end that led to the steal of two, and inside the in-turn clockwise rotation hit and roll behind the centers.
Absolutely. This is one here. You just want to make sure you're not, you don't float it at all.
Okay.
You ever come wide here, you could run the Quebec rock into your own in the forefoot.
Roll
So
in a little bit.
it was the same situation as last time. It was a bit of a risk, but she made it really nice and it paid off. So she'll be looking for the same thing to happen here.
Didn't get the roll, but still pretty good, and it does block the path for Quebec to an extent. Just a reminder to everyone, by the way, if you are looking for up-to-date scores from the 2020 New Holland Canadian Juniors, curling.ca/scoreboard. That is curling.ca/scoreboard to get all of the scores from the 2020 New Holland Canadian Juniors. And I believe Quebec will call a timeout.
I think that was called by the coach. Quebec's got a few options here. I think likely their best option is to just try and draw down there with the counterclockwise turn, freeze on the rock that's in the forefoot, and hope that you get second shot. I'm not sure I see a whole lot else.
Si on la fait l'autre bord, là, on la voit mince. Ouais. Parce qu'il faut passer tête de ce gars-là, mais faut pas trop passer tête de ce gars-là, parce qu'on passera pas à lui, tu comprends? Ouais. Ça, c'est bien ça. Ouais.
It's a pretty lonely yellow that's in there right now.
Ouais. Non, je sais.
And either way, it's a guess here on the shots here because there's nothing easy. But
Par où tu penses que tu es capable de passer? Es-tu capable de passer?
Moi, je pense que oui. Moi, je pense qu'on est capable d'aller, mais ça va être serré. Faut être tête sur elle.
C'est réellement serré, puis ça colle moins un peu, il y a des zones. Par l'autre bord, es-tu capable de rentrer back 8 pour frapper, puis juste verser?
Faut pas que j'aille un gros poids, mais je pense que oui, je suis capable. C'est ça
Ça fait longtemps qu'il n'y a pas eu de pierre, ce bord-là. Si tu joues back 8, t'en as déjà joué 2 bouts plus loin, t'en as courbé beaucoup. C'est sûr que ça va courber, mais il ne faut pas que tu sois en bas de back 8. Joue back 8 pour frapper puis verser ta côté dessus. Elle va être mal prise, elle va partir avec un. OK, on joue.
Let's go.
Michelle Bleh, a familiar face in coaching circles at this event, has coached both men's and women's teams at the Canadian Juniors over the years. Most recently coaching the men's team, skipped by Vincent Robert last year in Prince Albert. And also skipped the women's team, skipped by Camille Boisvert in 2014 at Liverpool, Nova Scotia, in 2017 at Victoria. And has a national gold medal, coached the Quebec team skipped by Marie-Christine Quentin at the 2003 Canada Winter Games at Bathurst, New Brunswick. That team won the gold medal. So here is the shot.
Exactly what we said, trying to freeze on the one in the top, but it does look a little bit heavy. The thing is, she can roll in off of this outside red as well.
They need it to curl, though. Probably as good as she could have made it, I think. I mean, little inside flop would have been nice. I do believe they will be able to see all of it, though.
Yep, for sure. Playing that weight, that was about the best she could have hoped for. I think both sweepers indicated that it was a little more weight than they wanted. So yeah, I think with a little less weight, you maybe get that inside flop, and it's pretty difficult for Manitoba to score more than one.
The question is, who do you think is third shot, John?
11 and a half.
That's a great question. Let me look at this overhead. Manitoba. I think this is a shot for 3. But I think we will probably see our friend, the measuring device.
I'm going to disagree with that, by the way. I think it's a shot for 2, and if she doesn't hold that shooter there, this could be a single. It would be a huge win for Quebec.
Absolutely. And, you know, it is edge on edge, so Mackenzie pops this out at all. Could be a steal.
Not yet.
They're not loving the line.
Hard, no.
Trying to get it to curl. So there it is, and we will see who is second shot. I believe my money is on Quebec. And bring on the lasers.
Bring on the lasers. Let's get these glasses off and see if we can improve our vision. Although my vision was good on the first one, so we'll see. I think it's Manitoba.
right, we'll see this play out. There you see the laser beam coming out, and they get a reading off it that gives them the distance down to the 1,000th of an inch, I believe.
Nice. That's how I do all my measuring.
Told you.
Boom, I told you.
I am humbled to be in your presence.
Wow. I don't know if I'm deserving of that much praise, but it does seem like I know how to use the overhead camera a little better than you do.
Take it where you can get it. So it is a deuce for Manitoba and a 6-3 lead through 7 ends. Quebec will have hammer in the 8th. Well, we got a moment. Let's tell you about the great New Holland Hay Tools giveaway. Our great sponsors at New Holland giving away $550,000 worth of farm equipment. Think about that. $550,000 of farm equipment. I was saying
did that go up? Yeah, you were saying 400 yesterday.
I discovered that in fact it was 400,000 US.
Oh my goodness.
550K.
That's crazy.
Canadian.
Man, tractors are expensive.
They are expensive, but they do good work, particularly New Holland tractors, and there are a couple of them on display here at the New Holland Canadian Juniors. If you want a chance to win in the New Holland Hay Tools giveaway, you just got to go to newhollandgiveaway.com. The grand prize, there are a series of prizes being drawn leading up to the grand prize drawing on March 2nd, 2020. So make sure to get your chance to win big, and I mean really big, in the great New Holland Hay Tools giveaway. newhollandgiveaway.com. Look at those things.
I'm looking at it. It says the tractor they're giving away is 250,000 Canadian dollars. Makes me feel like I should get in the tractor business, Al.
With an observation camera.
Oh, well, they wouldn't have to put that in your tractor. You wouldn't know how to use it.
That's true. That is true. I just ignore all video pictures and let my eyes do the work. So Quebec has the corner guard up, and Lauren Lenentine now will try, I'm sure, to lob another one into the house. I don't think there's any reason Manitoba would want any guards in play themselves at this stage.
Nope. No, that's a tough one for Quebec. Again, I'm a little bit surprised. In the 4th end, I thought Noemi Gauthier should have maybe been a little bit more aggressive with her draw game, and she had some good opportunities to get rocks in good spots, the 5th end, and she elected to try and run guards into the house, and then in that end, when the rocks were actually in much better positions for Manitoba and much worse positions for Quebec, she decided not to bail out. And it ended up costing her in the end. Mackenzie Zacharias having a shot for 3 that she just missed, but still got the 2. So a little bit of, some conflicting strategy there from Gauthier, but lucky to get away with only giving up 2, and they're certainly not out of this one.
Reminder, we'll be back on the air tomorrow on Curling Canada's YouTube channel with 3 more games from the New Holland Canadian Juniors. 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. John Cullen will be on board for all 3.
3-game day tomorrow. God bless us, everyone.
Women's game in the morning, Newfoundland Labrador taking on Ontario. A men's game in the afternoon, Newfoundland Labrador against the Northwest Territories. Then a women's game at night, Alberta against the Northwest Territories.
A lot of Northwest Territories action going on tomorrow. I might have to look at a map.
A lot of Northwest Territories and Newfoundland Labrador will get double hits of both of those member associations. Reminder that format-wise, you got 2 7-team pools in each the men's and women's division, and the top 4 finishers in each of those pools will advance to the championship pool with play beginning on Wednesday. So once again, plenty of Manitoba stones in the rings, and then Quebec trying to chase, but they do have a couple corner guards up. I think Manitoba wouldn't be displeased to not only remove that Quebec stone, but remove their own stone at the back of the button.
Absolutely. It's not doing Manitoba any favors right now, that's for sure.
You do the whole thing in curling lingo, they wouldn't hate it.
They wouldn't hate it. It's absolutely right.
How did that become a thing in curling, by the way?
I don't hate it?
Yeah, you don't say that when you're going to a movie. I don't hate that decision. Say, I
You're
would
right.
like to go see Star Wars. It's a curling thing.
You're right. I never even thought about that. But you're right, I don't use it in any other term or like in any other facet of my life other than curling. So yeah, I don't know.
It's not horrible.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not bad. Yeah. I don't know.
Why don't they just say, I like that idea? I don't
Well,
know.
because they don't like it. They just don't think it's
It's
they
a
just don't
good
think it's bad.
option. It's an acceptable option.
Yeah.
No, that's become, I don't despise it with a passion of 1,000 white-hot suns.
Just trying to be nice to the skip. You know,
I
all the
guess.
skips in this game, the egos are fragile, Al. So you can't outright say you like something or you hate something. You just have to, well, you know, I don't hate it. Or I don't love it. I say that too sometimes.
That's true.
They put their broom down, you go, I don't love it. You
Yeah,
can't
I don't
outright
love
say
this. That's right.
You
But
can't
you're only
outright
muttering
say
that in the hack.
yeah, well,
I don't love this, guys.
true. That does happen sometimes. Manitoba stacking up rocks in the house, but Quebec does have one behind that corner guard there. Half buried. Carly Burgess will chase.
Working hard here. Got it by the corner. Will it jam? No, it doesn't. Nice result for Manitoba. They're sitting 4.
Better than sitting 3, I always say.
Yeah, I don't hate not sitting 4.
Exactly.
I don't hate
See,
sitting
there
4,
we go.
Right?
Now we're really getting into it. Okay, big shot here from Leandra Roberge. Try and hit and roll here, back behind that corner guard.
Flo! Flo! Hard Flo! Okay, whoa, whoa, close. Yeah! Whoa, Meg.
Oh, looks like they're trying to roll behind
Hard,
that.
whoa, Flo! Hard Flo!
Well, I think that
Hard!
curled a little more than they
No roll.
expected too, John.
It definitely
Yeah,
did.
I think they were maybe tried to call the audible and see if they could get the one in the 12 foot.
On curlait trop
That's
anyway.
gonna
les
roll
autres
back
sont pas
and
l'autre chose.
Manitoba continues to sit 4, I believe.
Yeah, 3 for sure.
And yes, you'd expect this at some point. They will start ripping guards.
Yeah, kind of a smart call here by Manitoba. Carly Burgess says, let's peel the guard, and it's a great call. It's really the only rock that's causing any difficulty right now.
Hard over, really hard. Get it out, Liam. Good.
That'll do just fine. So now if you're Quebec, you probably got to try and bury around this really high corner guard, and pretty much there's almost nowhere you can bury behind that corner that Mackenzie Zacharias won't be able to get to, but you just try and get it as far behind that guard as you can and hope she misses.
Flo! On en masse de place. Flo un peu. Hard Flo. Et où? Flo, Flo. All the way hard. Okay, whoa, ben là, on est fort. Whoa, whoa, whoa. On overkill. Okay.
Nice shot from Leandra Roberge.
Real
It's in
nice.
a really nice spot, but again,
Third shot.
Manitoba's still probably 3, either 2 at least.
I think they're third.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you like? Huh? Just, yeah, there. Okay, I like that.
I think so.
Just here.
Hey, you got it, Mac.
That's the risk you run when you go around a high corner like that too. that Manitoba could just completely ignore it and come around the one in the middle. I thought that that was also an option for Quebec to do the shot that Manitoba is now calling. Just draw around that rock in the top 12.
I'll quickly tell you, we do have a final to report. Nova Scotia, Graham Weagle has finished off an 11-3 win over Manitoba number 2, skipped by Jacques Gauthier, leaving both teams with 2-1 records. Oh, that is a great sweeping tandem right there, isn't it, John?
Absolutely, yeah. Tell Carly's been a front-end player her whole life, no question about that. Really nice sweep.
End to end, and they get it to the top 4.
It's a good sweep. What'd you get?
Partly buried, and you heard Mackenzie say that was a good sweep.
It does look like it's open enough where Noemi might be able to make a thin double here. It's very thin, but you're at the point where you're down 3. You want to score 2 here. And you don't really have a lot else, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's exactly it. At this stage in the game, down 3.
Well, it looks like she is going to try and draw. Drawing here, you might be able to tuck a piece around that one in the top 4, aim for the back 4 and try and get a piece buried around it, or you could freeze on the top of it, but if you freeze, Mackenzie Zacharias is likely throwing a guard and you're gonna have a tough time making that one count. This is going to be real close to that top one.
You're going to have to work to get this by, all 3 of them, and it will crash.
Unlucky. Good sweeping by Florence Boivin and Megan Rivette, but just looked a little tight out of the hand. That's that in turn that we've seen curl more than any other turn on the sheet coming to this home end here.
Yeah, 10. 10 in there.
There's almost no bad shot for Mackenzie Zacharias here, but you could hear both her and Lauren talk that the best shot here is to nose this. You nose it, and it's going to be really tough for Noemi to count a point. You get a little hair roll in is great too. Just the way they drew it up.
So Manitoba sitting 4, and Quebec will have the open hit.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they could have got a little more aggressive. If you ever roll that rock in just a smidge, you block off the hit and you make Gauthier's draw extremely tough, but still obviously a good shot from Zacharias. You never feel mad about making your opponent hit against 4.
Whoa. Close. Meg. Meg! Oh, Meg!
I think that needs to curl a bit from the way they're calling it.
No, all good. Good shot. But Manitoba will happily take their 2-point lead with the hammer.
Into the 9th end we go, and Manitoba has just put on a ton of pressure this entire game, particularly in the back half of the game, and it's produced some very good things and forced some tough shots from Noemi Gauthier.
Ouais, ça a mal tourné. OK. Let's go, no. Belle shot.
Between ends pep talk from Quebec.
OK, let's go, ma chaîne. Fait que
Guard. 1 ou 3, Flo, c'est bon. OK.
The guard is called, as you'd expect, from Quebec lead, Florence Boivin.
Yeah, if you're Quebec here, you don't have to go too crazy. You're down 2, but there's 2 ends to play, so you just have to steal 1 both ends to get that tie and get to the extra end, and then steal again in the extra to win. So I think we'll see Quebec obviously try and get 2 guards up if Manitoba can't make this tick. But other than that, you don't have to sell out for a huge steal. You just need 1 here.
I can tell you about another final over at the Langley Curling Center in men's play. Prince Edward Island's Tyler Smith finishes off the opening weekend of the 2020 Canadian Juniors with a 3-0 record, 8-4 win over Quebec, and he shot a Wayne Gretzky tonight, 99 for Tyler Smith.
Great tick by Lauren Lenentine over here on our sheet. Obviously, as a lead, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the tick shot. That's well executed and great shot by Lauren there. It's Lauren's first year playing lead, so would be a lot of practice to get her tick shots down, and she makes a great one there.
Tyler Smith, by the way, a great story. He's been in this event a number of times, but he spends his summers as a stock car racer and owns his own car, and is also active in harness racing in Prince Edward Island.
So he's not so concerned about injury. We were talking about all the injuries earlier. We're like, oh, don't go skating. He's like, well, I won't go skating, but I will drive a car around the track very fast.
Only turning left, though. So.
Yeah, that negates some of the danger.
Another
He's not turning left,
called.
Al. He's turning counterclockwise.
That's true. Another tick called for Lauren Lenentine, and nicely executed. Yes. 2 for 2 on the tick.
2 great shots from Lauren Lenentine. Just a total deflator if you're Quebec. Lauren looking pretty happy there with herself, and she should be. Love to see 2 ticks there. And like I say, you know, for someone who's just new to the lead position, that's something that she probably wouldn't have practiced before, or certainly not a whole lot. So I can bet she's put in a ton of work to get those shots down, and it feels good to be here at a national championship and making both of them.
We mentioned that Carly, as she goes to school in Manitoba, is living at the Gauthier residence. But the Zacharias sisters and Lauren Lenentine are all sharing an apartment in Winnipeg. So I'm guessing that makes it quite easy to schedule practice times.
No kidding.
And discuss strategy, although I was going to say probably the last thing they want to talk about away from the rink is curling, but that said, these girls do absolutely have a passion for this sport, and they work hard at it. So I say that, but I suspect that they are talking an awful lot of curling in terms of their preparation and how they get ready for big events and small events. That's the way this team is committed, and we're seeing it bear out on the ice.
Absolutely. Wouldn't be me. I'd never live with my curling teammates. Couldn't handle it too much. But these girls, fantastic. What a great story.
Just gets it over. Left it high there, hoping for a jam that might result in a better placed rock. That's the reasoning they play it just over, but it's still all contingent on getting a miss out of Manitoba.
Yeah, I like the strategy call for sure. Obviously, Mackenzie Zacharias not playing the out turn, playing the in here so that you don't end up with that situation. And good shot by Emily.
jusqu'à où ma brosse, si possible. On peut attendre, je pense.
It's interesting. Last year at the Canadian Juniors, the New Holland Canadian Juniors in Prince Albert, Carly Burgess was there, and her dad Craig was there, of course, as he always is, cheering her on. And it was in Prince Albert in 1987 that Craig won the Canadian Junior Men's Championship. And it was, of course, in 1987 where the BC team featured Brent Pierce, Brian Mickey, Darren Fenton.
Clean, easy, clean. Good.
Brian Mickey and Brent Pierce are active at this year's Canadian Juniors, coaching the BC Championship team, skipped by Hayato Sato.
Yeah, two guys instrumental to British Columbia curling over the past 3 decades. I played with Brent myself one year in 2011, and both huge contributors to the curling culture in BC. Great players, great role models, and it's great to see them co-coaching. And obviously Brian's son Joshua is on the BC team, and he's turned into quite a great little curler himself, playing his dad's position too, playing second. So two great guys, and happy to see them out here.
The other member of that 1987 team, by the way, Ross Graham, and ran into a hot Craig Burgess team from Nova Scotia at that Nationals in
Little more.
in Prince Albert.
No. Shoot. Sorry, Carly.
Manitoba doing a good job keeping things clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Car.
Oh, just like we said, Manitoba, they're a good team. They've had I'm sure, I didn't follow their schedule exactly, but I'm sure they played a lot of games with the lead with such a talented lineup. And when you get comfortable playing with the lead, it's tough for a team like Quebec to get anything going here.
And before I get the emails, I will correct myself. Craig Burgess did win the 1987 Canadian Championship representing New Brunswick. He's playing second on the team. Jimmy Sullivan, Charlie Sullivan, Craig Burgess, Dan Alderman.
Okay, bonne ligne. Flow first, s'il faut.
Beating a young Wayne Madaw in the final. And Brent Pierce lost the semi that year to Wayne Madaw. And, by the way, that Brent Pierce team did reunite this weekend for the seniors playdowns. That's why Brent had to miss a game yesterday, but they did miss out on qualifying for the BC Senior Men's Championship.
Yeah, the BC Senior Men's is getting to the point where it's better than the BC Men's, Al. The field is extremely strong, the BC Seniors.
Yeah, got an 8.
Another clean end. That's Manitoba likes this. Just a peel attempt for Mackenzie Zacharias.
Yeah, Noemi Gauthier came a little bit heavy with her draw. Zacharias will peel, and then presumably Noemi will put her rock in the house, and Mackenzie will decide whether she wants to take one to take a 3-point lead or blank to maintain her 2-point lead with hammer.
Neither a bad decision either. It's just a matter of comfort, isn't it, John?
Absolutely, yeah. It's whichever you prefer. I always felt like, being up 3 is pretty good. You make all your shots, pretty tough to lose. But with the 5-rock rule, we see a lot more 3-enders than we used to with the 4-rock rule. So it is possible that Manitoba might prefer keeping the hammer just so they have that last rock advantage in the final end. But we'll see what they decide.
Bonne ligne. Est à vous, maison sûre. Maison sûre. Go, go, go. OK. Nice sweep. OK. C'est bon. C'est bon.
Judging by where Lauren Lenentine has the broom, I'd say they're blanking.
I like her chances through 8 ends. Mackenzie Zacharias was coming in at 92%. In fact, that entire Manitoba team in the 90s through 8 ends, and I don't think they missed a shot this end either. So those percentages will go up. Carly Burgess at 95, Emily Zacharias at 91, Lauren Lenentine at 98. That's good shooting. And the blank is put on the board, and Manitoba will keep its last rock advantage and a 6-4 lead as we head to the 10th end.
Some impressive percentages from the Manitoba team, and they've played a really nice game, and I feel like they've really also managed the ends well. The strategy, they haven't gotten, they have had a couple key misses. They haven't gotten down on those misses. They haven't let themselves get too far away from the game here, and just they've had a fantastic night.
Never struck me that they were chasing in a single end, eh?
Not usually, no. I think, yeah, like we say, even the misses they had, they were misses for extra points. We saw Mackenzie Zacharias put the one through the house for the extra point. She missed the shot for 3, but they still got 2. So those are the kind of misses where you go, okay, well, we'll take those. If we have to have misses from our skip, we'll take those ones. But overall, not too many misses, and like you say, Al, they haven't really been chasing the game all that often. And when they have, they've been able to make some key shots to get themselves out of it.
Lauren Lenentine made 2 perfect ticks in the 9th end. We'll see if she can do it again.
There's one.
Yep.
It's also an adjustment for the tick shots with these stones. We talked about this last night, but the stones that are used for the national championships have very thin striking bands, and so you see them, they act very lively on the ice. And so again, these teams used to playing with curling club rocks that are used all day, every day by all skill levels of curler, and in some cases are very old rocks, and the striking bands get thicker and thicker the older the rocks get, and so they're not as lively as they are in this arena ice. And so adjusting to making these tick shots is not easy.
So that delivery by Quebec came up short of the hog line. Pulled out of play, Florence Beauvin, the hog rock, and Lauren Lenentine will not be called upon for a tick. She'll just throw it to the half.
We should say Florence Boivin had a very nice game. She's curling in the 90s herself, and great sweeper as well. She's really done some nice things with those rocks, keeping them straight and moving for Noemi. So good game from her. It's obviously she'll feel a bit bummed to hog her last one, but she's had a great game.
And Quebec entered this game with a 2-0 record, and that was no fluke. We knew coming in that we were told, as we said, sneaky good, and I think they've hung tough in this game, and I do like their chances of finishing in that top 4 and getting into the championship pool. And they've shown they have the shot-making ability, and if they get hot towards the end of the week, watch out.
Absolutely. Well, and we've said Manitoba's done a great job of keeping the pressure on Quebec all game. That's, you haven't seen Quebec have too many shots where you think, oh, this is a pretty easy shot, or you're gonna have a good result no matter what. They've kept the pressure on all game, and Quebec's just had a few key misses, and you know, that's really the story of curling. Noemi probably has had a few rocks she'd like to have back, and same thing with Leandre Roberge, and that's just the way this game goes. It's still a pretty close game, a 2-point game. I think Quebec acquitted themselves well, and like you say, Al, I do think they're a team that's going to be in a lot of games this week.
Zacharias will be called upon to peel that center guard.
Emily throws that peel weight very nicely. Clean throws, and she can throw some heat.
Yeah, even though it's looking like a loss, I think Michel Bleh and his team can glean a lot of positives that will carry them into tomorrow as well. And meanwhile, this Manitoba team, as you'd said earlier, John, came in as advertised and I think lived up to that billing. It's going to take something awfully special to beat them.
If they play the way they did tonight, that's certainly the case. But we know it's a long week, Al. There's lots of talented teams here, and I think, you know, Manitoba does have that experience that comes in handy at these national championships, but you start to get later in the week and it's all talented teams playing each other all the time. And so I think we're going to see lots of great games, and I have a feeling Manitoba is going to be a part of quite a few of them.
Carly Burgess, and as you see, she can really whistle them too.
Well, that's a career second right there. So, you know, like we said, she had that 1 year where she played third for Kristen Clark after Mary Fay decided to leave the game to pursue a career as a doctor, or education as a doctor, I should say. And so that's really the only time she's played back end. Otherwise, she's been a second. So that's the other thing too with this Manitoba team, that they can really get themselves out of trouble in a way that some of the other teams in the field may not be able to, just by having obviously Emily very comfortable throwing up weight, and then you have Carly, who's been, you know, throwing peels and runbacks her whole career. And we saw a few of them tonight to get their team out of trouble or to drastically change the way the ends looked. And I think that's a real weapon for the Manitoba team.
Into the house now, Quebec, and Carly Burgess will be asked to remove the other remaining guard.
Yeah, nice shot from Leandre Robert. Got that rock completely buried behind that corner.
Clean, whoa. Easy, clean, good.
Time running out for Quebec, not on the clock, but in terms of the rocks remaining. Here she will try and replace that corner guard. The sweepers are indicating it's going to be a little tight to the rings. And by tight to the rings, we clearly mean
yeah, that's pretty tight to the rings.
To the rings.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you're Quebec, you're thinking of playing the guard there, if only to force Mackenzie into throwing her last rock. You know, there's just that little bit of added pressure with it being the last rock of the game. But the way these rocks are set up now, Mackenzie's got a pretty gimme double here, and she makes the double, and that's all she wrote. Of course, no pressure to make the double here. You only get one of them, and you're still going to have an open hit on your last one for the win.
Always fun to go home after a double, though, eh?
Well, the way the Rocks are set up, it's harder to miss the double than make the double. So I have a good feeling that we're looking at the last rock of this game.
And like that. So it will be handshakes.
Good game, good luck.
A victory for Manitoba. They will improve to 3-0. Quebec will drop to 2-1. And that completes our day at the 2020 New Holland Canadian Junior Curling Championships. Come back and join us tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern Time. For John Cohen, I'm Al Cameron saying good night from the township of Langley.